everyone, and welcome to Sunnybrook Park in Toronto, Canada for the World Flying Disc Federation's Club Championships in Ultimate. Hi, I'm Rob Weller, along with two expert and very fine Ultimate players, Scott Gerst and John Vorhaus, who are going to help talk through the Men's Open Finals today. And we've got two terrific teams. First, a team called Big Brother from Boston, Massachusetts, and another team called New York, New York from, of course, the Big Apple. John, let's start with Big Brother first from Boston. Tell us a little bit about them.
Well, they've only lost one game this whole tournament, and that was to fellow Boston team Earth Atomizer. They've got strong, solid offense and tenacious man-on-man defense. They're definitely a Big Brother team that's worth watching.
You think they deserve to be in the finals?
Oh, absolutely.
No doubt about it. All right, Scott, how about New York, New York?
Well, what can you say about New York? For years, they've been one of the best teams in Ultimate. Top to bottom of their roster, they're stacked. They've got great athletes. Expect to see a great game out of them.
With over 1,200 players here this week, 68 teams from 17 different countries, it's boiled down to an all-American Men's Open Finals. So let's start the action and see how Ultimate's played.
The team that's throwing, it's called the pull, will raise their hand, and when the receiving team is ready, someone on their team will raise a hand as well. And then play will start.
Big Brother from Boston pulling now to the team from New York, New York in the white, Boston in the lavender.
And we are underway. New York with the disc about 10 yards from their own end zone. They quickly move it up to around midfield. There's a quick shot for the end zone. Kenny Dobbins is free for the score.
So New York immediately, within the first few seconds of the game,
taking control.
With goal number one. It's called a goal.
That's right, a goal.
Or a point. And basically, let's talk a little bit, John, about what happened there.
Well, New York put the disc in play. They made one throw to a man who was open to throw, and he made a long throw. That's called a huck, long-distance throw from literally one end of the field to the other. The receiver broke free on a man-to-man against a man-to-man defense and made a real good play to get open and score.
Now, both teams have taken positions once again in the end zones, but they've switched sides, Scott. How come?
That's correct. After every goal, the teams switch ends. That's to negate any field position or wind advantage that there might be on the field.
So New York now pulls the disc as it floats ever so gingerly down toward the end zone of Boston. Big Brother.
That's a great pull because it gave the New York defenders time to get down and match up on their offensive men.
Does it make any difference whether you catch it or let it drop in the end zone?
If you make an attempt to catch it and you don't succeed, if you touch it and it drops to the ground, that's a turnover.
Now what's happened? Play has stopped already.
We just had either a pick call or some kind of foul or violation, and any time that there's a violation called, play will stop, the players will sort out what happened, and then they'll put it back into play.
Now how does it get put back into play?
The defender will touch the disc.
He'll count 3, 2, 1, touch the disc, and play will resume.
Now we're back. Same team has the disc.
A Big Brother moving about 10 yards from their own end zone. They go to the far side of the field. Number 84, Johnny Barr, with Ben Yasadi on the mark. And Mata Phillips pops out towards the middle of the field.
Defender has to stay how far away from the offensive man?
When they're guarding the person with the disc, there's a big hammer throw for the end zone. Knocked away. Not a great throw there by 00 Steve Mooney.
Now what does that mean?
Basically, they'll just have to keep running until somebody scores a goal.
Skip Kuhn looks stuck on his own end zone. Nice play out, Mike Turoff on his own goal line.
Is this a man-to-man defense?
This is a man-to-man defense we're seeing right here.
What's the New York team trying to do at this point?
Nice try by John Gertz to save that in bounds.
But the fact that one of his team members did not catch it means it's a turnover.
That is correct, and now Boston will put it into play from approximately midfield.
Is there an advantage having it in play closer to their goal?
Well, of course, you have less distance to go. They got a nice turnover there. Big swing cross field. They're now about 15 yards out. Steve Mooney directing his offense. They'd love to tie the game right here. Nice flip backhand. There's the man in the corner for the score. Nice sliding grab.
You will see over and over again in this game that there's a spirit of courtesy that underlies it, which says if the play is going organically, we'll just let it keep going.
And we have a light breeze today. How will that affect the disc, if any?
Probably won't affect it at all. These guys are such great throwers that this mild wind won't affect them. As a matter of fact, a lot of people like to have a little bit of wind because with the aid of the wind, they can make the disc curve a lot more than they would be without. Nice throw to the middle of the field. There's team leader, Kenny Dobbins, shot for the end zone. They have a man posted up. Oh, nice defensive play in the end zone. Boy, I thought that was going to be a goal there.
Now, in any way, can that defensive man from Boston interfere with the player in the goal?
No, and I
It
think
looks like a foul was called.
That's exactly what they're going to say happened. I think the receiver on New York is going to claim that Jeffrey Williams went up and hit him while the disc was in the air.
Which means what?
Which means now we'll take it back to the point where the throw originated from, since Jeffrey contested the foul. He said, I didn't foul you. The guy said you did, so essentially it counts as a do-over.
If they both agree that the foul had taken place, then play would resume where the foul had taken place.
So New York will try again, and Boston will try to keep him out of there.
Shot for the corner, standing about 10 yards out now. Pat King on the backhand. Steps around. Shot for the end zone for the score. Number 10, Dave Blau. From number 13, Pat King in New York goes to a 2-1 advantage.
And once again, we're going to be playing to 21. First one to 21 wins the World Championship, or at least wins, they have to win by 2. Very spirited crowd here. There's a good turnout in Toronto for the finals.
New York right now encouraging their defense to get a block. From watching New York and playing against them all these years, their offense is great, make no mistake about it, but they win games with defense. They win games by laying out, put their face in the dirt, and getting a block and a good turnover.
Interestingly, Boston says that's what's going to win it for them, too. They think their big, strong man-on-man defense is going to make the difference.
I think we had a foul call. No, they'll put it back into play.
Just a little quick discussion. In Ultimate, what really wins it? Is it the...
Whoa. Oh, and that'll be a foul.
Almost everything in Ultimate, any dispute will result in play resuming where it would have continued if there had been no dispute.
So it's just, hey, whoops, I bumped into you. I'm sorry, let's keep going.
Now moving towards midfield. Steve Mooney just short of midfield. Oh, and a drop. Maybe distracted there by the defender running by. They got a man deep. They're going to take a shot at it. Dave Blau for the score.
New York picks up goal number 3 and quickly takes a 3-1 lead over the Boston Big Brother. One of the enjoyable aspects for me, not knowing much about the sport of Ultimate until I got a chance to watch this week, is the incredible faking, the rapid ability to toss in those 3 fashions, the forehand, the backhand, and that magnificent hammer throw over the head where the disc goes upside down. Incredible little device, that disc.
Well, all the players are right down there on the field, so if you can put the disc up in the stratosphere where no one can get at it, then it's safe.
Nice pull. That drops just in bounds, so they'll have to play it from the sideline, which is exactly what they wanted. Now in their own end zone, Big Brother. Nice throw.
This is a little similar to perhaps soccer in the dribble and the setup, if you're familiar with that sport. What happened, Scott?
I think of the throw in the end zone, the defenders on New York are going to claim that the throw actually touched the ground in the middle of the flight, and technically if the throw touches the ground, it's considered a turnover. In my opinion, even if it grazed a few blades of grass, it didn't affect the flight of the disc, so I think that they should play it just as a good throw.
All right, so they're not sure. Now what happens?
A disagreement, they're going to take it back to where the infraction occurred or where the disagreement occurred, and they'll play it from there.
John, do we have any impartial observers on the side that can assist in any of these decisions today?
That's an awful darn good question, Rob. Yes, we do have certified observers watching this play, passive observers. They'll be called in, but only if the players can't resolve the dispute themselves. There are no referees as such in Ultimate.
Nice defense by New York. Again, they stopped Big Brother on their own goal line, so they only have about 7 yards to go for the score. Juano Flores to John Goertz. Looks off Woody Lewis. John Goertz goes up top. Nice throw. Blair O'Connor in the back corner of the end zone, and New York has staked themselves to an early 3-goal lead.
4-1, New York over the Big Brothers. Is this a good time, Scott, for perhaps a timeout?
I think that's exactly what we've got here. Yeah.
All right, let's listen in and see what's going on in the huddles.
It's obvious that the crowd here is definitely anti-New York. I love it! We love it! They're gonna hate to see us win this. They're gonna hate it! They're gonna hate every second of it. But let's keep it very clean. Let's not get in any arguments. Let's not make it ugly. Let's put on a show of efficient, perfect Ultimate. Yeah! You hate perfection. You can hate it all you want. You can despise us. But they're gonna have to look They're going to have to look at it. We're the best, and we're going to show it now. This
Yeah, New York.
Every single point, you guys.
Long way to go,
The
New
defense
York.
looks good. The transition could be better. We got to crush. We got to crush them every single point. If we keep their offense on the field, they're going to die. Fact! They have 7 guys on their offense. Fact! We have 20 guys on our D. Fact! There's no way they can run with us. Fact! They can't run with us now. Fact! They can't run with us at this next point. Fact! The next point. Fact! The next point. They can't.
You can see the incredible intensity in the New York huddle. Obviously, these guys are fired up. They've got a 4-1 lead over Boston. And as we look at the Boston huddle, boy, it looks like there's a bunch of heads hanging already, John.
Yeah, it sure does. New York definitely has the early psych advantage, and they're exploiting it for all they're worth. I heard him say in the huddle, they know the crowd's against them, and they're eating it up.
And yet, how it maintains that kind of intensity and that sort of honor and sportsmanship is beyond me. We don't see it in the NFL. We don't see it in the NBA. We don't even see it in baseball with guys taking pitches at each other and tosses and yelling at the umpires. This is a whole different ambiance, if you would have it.
Well, that's a little bit of magic that we call the spirit of the game. Every player knows what it is. Every player respects it and adheres to it, and it's what sets Ultimate apart from every sport in the world.
Pull is in the center of the end zone. Is that a good pull?
It gave him a little bit of time to get set, but Big Brother really didn't take advantage of that.
If you get the disc fast, if it's not a great pull or a low, hard pull, what advantage does it give you, Scott?
Well, you got a couple seconds to get a few free yards before the defense has a chance to set their feet, and you want to maybe get 25, 30 yards on the first couple passes, which they didn't do because they're still with their backs to their own end zone. Now John Barr standing about 30 yards from his own end zone. A little confusion in the middle. They go far side. Then we have a pick called. There was a collision there in the middle of the field.
We saw these, the number 9, number 16 on the Big Brothers. That's, golly. Mata
16
Phillips.
is Mata Phillips. Yeah.
That's number 99. That's
99.
Kid
That's
Runkle.
Oh, that's
yeah.
Kid Runkle. I only saw one of the 9s. Sorry about that.
Okay,
Now,
the reason
they got jammed up in the middle?
Well, they stopped because Mata got, I guess, what's called a flat tire, where somebody stepped on the back of his shoe, and everybody stopped just to make sure he wouldn't get hurt. Since it didn't affect the play, they'll take it from where the pass wound up. Nice little pop up the sideline. Forehand shot for the end zone. John Barr for the score.
Important goal for the Big Brothers of Boston. 2 goals now for them, 4 for New York, John.
Well, you saw right there, that's just a sheer physical ability. You get a big man streaking to the end zone, you can put up a throw that's might be a little bit iffy, and he can cover a multitude of sins for you.
4-2, Scott. What's this mean early on in the match?
I still think they're still in the process of feeling each other out, trying to establish a rhythm. This is the opportunity that Big Brother has wanted, and they have a chance to pull and set up their defense.
We'll see if they can walk it like they talk it now.
It's number 58, Lenny Engel, with the horns on his head. He's somebody to watch. Great defensive player.
What do the horns mean?
Not really sure. But all I know is he will never really be further than 2 feet away from the man he's covering. Nice
the
play
dig.
on defense. That's number 24, Jay Seeger on the defense. Jay just threw for that last goal and came back and got the block.
He is stoked.
He's a happy guy.
And the crowd seems to approve of a good defensive move just as much
Absolutely.
as they do of a goal.
Well, because they know that a turnover could equal a goal, so it's every bit as important as a goal score.
And we got Lenny at midfield, swings to this side. Nice shot up the sideline. Standing about 10 yards out, points for the far corner. Kenny Dobbins with the block.
And block.
Great anticipation on defense to get up and block that one.
Dobbins coming out of absolutely nowhere.
And you would look at him and you would think, well, you know, he's a short guy. There's no way that he can stay with these tall guys. But if you watch him in the pregame warm-ups and you have an opportunity to see during the game, he's got some springs.
Maybe he's got some springs built into double knee pads that he's wearing, those black knee pads.
That's just that's a ruse. That's just to lull the opponent into a false sense of security.
Doesn't make any difference if you catch it on your knees.
Nope, just so long as you catch the disc before it hits the ground.
Swing across Dave Blau. Now Dobbins on this side. Looking forehand. Takes a shot into the end zone. There's Skip Kuhn all alone.
They're just taking shots 30, 35 yards out. They're just bombing them into the end zone. They've got all kinds of confidence right now.
5-2. 5-2 now. New York over Boston. Early part of the match. Sun breaking through the high scattered clouds here in Sunnybrook Park. in Toronto, Canada, Ontario. Lovely, lovely setting. 16 fields have been active all week as players from Sweden, from Finland, from Australia, the Swiss, the Venezuelans, and the Americans have been vying to see who would play in this World Championship Finals.
And we're back into play. Disc will drift out of bounds. Big Brother will put it into play from the middle of the field. This is a very important goal now. We're at the point where a goal for New York makes the score 6-2, and that sounds a lot different than 5-3. And Moons pops out on the near sideline. On the forehand, steps around, takes a big shot. They set that play up. They spotted the mismatch. John Axon cannot get to that.
We almost had about a 65-yard score there. That's the longest I have seen in tournament play this week. It was a matter of inches.
Yeah, great effort there by John Axon. What they're going to try to do now is, I'm guessing they're going to try to isolate on the guy. He's in bounds. They're going to say that he jumped from out of bounds. There's going to be some discussion on this.
If his last point of contact was out of bounds.
Let's listen in, see what we hear.
It's active lines, right in front of me.
It was right in front of me, too. The observer's right in front of you.
Come on, Pat, you know he took off from out of bounds.
I was looking at his feet, and I assumed the observer's were.
Active observer's call. It's observer's call. I don't give a shit. It was so fucking clear.
Turnover. You landed in, you took off from out. Wait a minute.
Turnover. Tough team, New York.
In the line.
Come on, Boston, right away.
Back off the line. Pat King, move back, please.
Well, they're going to play that as a turnover after consulting with some people on the sideline. Even though he landed in bounds, he jumped from out of bounds to catch that. So his point of reference or his point of contact was out of bounds. So they play that as a turnover.
Scott, did you see the observers involved in that one?
I don't even think they went to the observers on that.
By the way, is the observers' word final in this match if they can't resolve it themselves?
Yes, once they consult the observers, once both teams agree to consult the observers, then the word of the observer is binding.
But they won't go to the observers unless they can't resolve the dispute themselves.
Nice diving attempt by John Goertz.
The offensive player has how long before he has to get rid of the disc?
10 seconds. There's somebody free up the line. That going to stay in? Ooh, I don't think so. Out of bounds.
Close twice now for Boston. They missed just by a matter of inches on a long toss, and he was out of bounds on this one.
Yeah, now they did get an observer call on that.
That's going to be too high. Who's going to get that? John Goertz comes down with it. Nice pickup on the overthrow by John Goertz.
And could Jay Seeger have ripped that out of his hands as they came down?
Absolutely not. Once it's in possession of the offensive player, defense cannot take it away.
And it looks as though we've got a timeout on the field now as New York with 5. The Big Brothers of Boston with 2 in the men's World Finals here in Toronto, Canada. Well, we hear Boston trying to get themselves going out there.
Yeah, they got to generate a little bit of psych here.
All right, what's going on out in the field now, Scott?
The offense has called a play, and they're going to set up and make sure that the play they've called is going to work, depending on what the defense is. And Steve Mooney is now directing his defense, telling them which way he's going to try to force Dave to throw.
So the defense has something in mind, and the offense has something in mind.
That's right. There, they ran a player out of the back of the stack, but they didn't have it, so they just go back to their normal offense.
A lot of bodies flying.
Absolutely. It's a non-contact sport according to the rules, but there's a lot of contact with the ground, a lot of guys diving, a lot of incidental contact, so these guys get pretty beat up by the end of a tournament.
The defensive player taps the disc and it goes back in play.
That's correct.
They've been watering this field the last couple days and rolling it literally with huge water rolling drums to try to level it out, but it is a little slippery. Walked out before the match.
It's in great shape. It's a better field than most of us practice on.
Now they go up the sideline, standing about 20 yards out. Black to the middle, Blair O'Connor for the end zone. John Goertz, a foot out, flip for the score.
Once again, he can't carry that in from any point. He especially has to be careful around the goal.
Exactly. His first point of contact has to be in the goal.
New York now really showing some strong domination at 6-2. Early part of the match. We've been underway now a little over 30 minutes.
Yeah, this is Big Brother's first gut check. They're down by 4. They're going to have to suck it up and show a little bit of stuff here.
Are they out of it at this point?
Oh, no, not at all. But they got to go back to throws and catches. They have to have good, solid offense, and they're going to have to force some turnovers.
I like this sport a lot.
Everybody who sees it falls in love with it. It's just very easy on the eye. It's aesthetically pleasing. It's great to watch. And everybody who plays the game has such marvelous spirit.
Yeah, I think that's one of the big selling points that, and something that I'm sure you've experienced over the course of the week here in Toronto, is that there's more of a spirit and camaraderie among all the players, no matter where they come from.
Nobody asked me to play this week. I'm a little hurt.
Oh, that's not true, Rob. We asked you to play, and you didn't want any part of this.
Just because I'm about 90 years older than you, Scott. All right, the pull down in the end zone, and it was off to the right side, Scott. Does that make it a good pull?
It helps them a little bit because, again, they have a little less field to work with if they start from the sideline.
This is Boston with the disc.
Now work up the sideline. Nice backhand flip. Moving nicely now past midfield. They go back to the middle. On the far side, Tommy Evans now.
Boston smells a goal, if you ask me,
nice
Scott.
Flip. And that's over. There may be a foul call on that. You heard the New York players yelling, he's new. This Tommy Evans is a new addition to the Big Brother team. Played for the last couple of years for a team out of North Carolina. Real good player, real young. They're trying to prey on his inexperience, but I don't think that's going to work.
His nickname, as I understand it, is Baby.
Yeah, Baby. He, if you get a good shot at him, he looks like he's about maybe 12, 13 years old.
All the cutting, weaving is by some sort of preordained move.
Yeah, it may look a little helter-skelter to the new observer, but each of these players has positions. They have certain plays they like to run. They practice 2-3 nights a week. They know exactly what to do in the situation. It's just a matter of executing it properly.
Back in play.
It's Lenny Engel now on the far sideline. Weaves back to the near. Mata Phillips pops out to the far sideline. There's Tommy free. Can't get it to him.
Good defense.
Step around. Is that foul called? Is that a goal?
Something was called. Obviously,
pick call, Rob.
Pick call.
A pick call.
That means the defense felt that his play was impeded by somebody else on the field.
So
he just couldn't catch up to the man he was covering because someone blocked his way.
The action at the goal line was insignificant at that point.
Now we go back into play.
And it's another pick call. You see this a lot down in the end zone because all the players are crowded into the end zone and there's just not as much room to move.
I got Walter Vanderstraff on defense, number 9. Generally recognized as one of the most pleasant, good-natured people playing the game right now. Somebody free. Little hook throw. Is he in? No, he's not in. Standing right on the goal line. Has about a yard to go. That's strip called.
A strip, Rob, is when the disc is knocked out of the player's hand while he's still in possession of it.
That's basically a no-no.
Exactly.
Can't do that.
So they'll put it back into play.
Respect the offensive player and his disc. So he's got about a foot to go.
Got about a foot. That can be the longest foot that there is on the field sometimes.
And Big Brother really needs this foot, too.
They flip out. There's Lenny free on the far sideline. There's the score. Nice play.
Boston needed that for their third goal. 6-3 now. New York over Boston. Slow, methodical, back and forth.
Boy, I saw a lot to admire on that play. The New York defense was just brutal against Big Brother, but they kept patient. They must have had 20-some-odd throws on that series, and they didn't give up. They didn't turn it over. They just worked it patiently until they found an opportunity to score.
Scott, both teams, New York and Boston, now have switched ends of the field after this goal, as they do every goal. Why is that?
In order to negate any field advantage there might be with uphill, downhill, or going into the wind or going against the wind, they'll trade sides after every goal is scored.
So Boston now 3 goals behind. Picked up their momentum, picked up their intensity. They looked very good on that drive, and now they're ready to pull the disc toward New York. And one of the truly beautiful aspects of this game, in addition to the fine athletes that are playing, is the way this disc sails.
There's Jay Seeger on the pull. Jay had a big block last time down that sort of lifted them up a little bit, but they couldn't convert. So they're going to look for somebody else now to be a hero here and maybe get a block.
There's about an 85-yard pull.
There's Dobbins to Bob DeMann. That probably set that play up right out of scrimmage, right off the pull. Dennis Warson.
Now we're stopping the action.
And I think
the disc is going back, and it's a travel call.
A travel on the throw.
And nice round of applause because Dennis Warson just threw that hammer throw about 60 yards back to the exact point where the disc came from.
Earlier in the week at Toronto's beautiful, beautiful Sky Dome, we saw a new world record. It was a different disc, but 415 feet a disc was thrown.
Yeah, it was Chris O'Cleary, who plays at the Women's League for Atlanta Ozone. There's a floating throw. Gonna have some bodies up. Bob DeMann pulls that down.
The tallest of the tall from New York.
Pops
Reaching
it back
sky high.
to Cribber.
Love to see him slam dunk a couple.
Shoots a flick for the end zone. For the score!
Nearly knocked down by one of the Boston players.
Yeah, and you could see how the offensive player was distracted on that. That's called a flyby.
A flyby.
When the defense goes by the disc, it doesn't actually touch it, but distracts the defense enough, the offense enough to drop the disc. But he stayed with it. He made the catch.
Terrific concentration for goal number 7, 7-3 New York over Boston.
He saw Dennis wasn't really happy with that throw. He sort of grabbed his head after he let that one go and realized maybe that wasn't the best throw in the book, but it did the trick.
New York with a 4-point lead over Boston in the men's finals here in Toronto with the pull. Back over to Scott Gerst for the play-by-play.
That's a great throw. You want to measure from the goal line. That traveled about 100 yards there. Gives the defense plenty of time to set up. Mata Phillips will walk it up and put it into play for Big Brother.
Where does he have to put it into play?
He'll put it into play at the goal line. He'll walk it up to the goal line. We'll see. Maybe they set up a play for one of their big men too. So keep an eye for one of those guys in the middle of the pack to break deep.
Boston down by 4 goals early on in the match, men's finals.
There it is, big shot for the end zone. Oh, nice effort there by Jeffrey Williams. John Gewertz is going to punish him here for laying out. He's going to step it right back up and put it into play.
That's twice we have seen 2 Boston goals missed by only
Ben
about
Yasadi, oh, just off the hands of Dennis Warson. And that's down. A lot of bodies flying on that one.
Nice layout defense.
There's John Action. He's free. Look for Steve Moody. Didn't see him. Mata Phillips now, middle of the field. Action cuts back. Little flip. Lenny Engel now on the forehand, steps around to Steve Moody, now 10 yards out. Now we got a pick call and we'll bring it back.
A pick call, the defensive man interfered with as he was trying to guard against one of the offensive men.
That's correct. Somewhere in the middle of the field there was a little congestion and somebody ran into somebody else.
John, what are you thinking about as that disc is coming towards you on the field?
Well, a couple of things. You want to keep your concentration going on the disc. A lot of times you hear people talk about hearing footsteps, which is fearing the defensive man is going to come over and make the play. You tell your players, go to the disc. Just keep going to the disc, run through the disc.
Now we're back in. Steve Mooney shot for the far sideline for the score! Steve Mooney to Lenny Engel. Beautiful, low, floating forehand cross field.
And John, that's what they call going horizontal?
Going horizontal or going ho. A full extension layout like that. That's about the prettiest play in Ultimate right there.
So Boston with a fine goal effort there now moves within 3 of New York, 7-4.
That's right. We're going to see the Big Brother defense come back on the field. We're going to look for them to try and force a turnover here and get another quick goal.
Let's go defense! Come on, dogs! Come on, D-Dogs, take it away! Come on, Boston! Boston! Get a block, Big Brother! Griffin!
Now we're back in New York, now working from our left. Pat King underneath to Ken Dobbins. Little flip to Dave Blau.
I would imagine they'd like to get a goal here, get that 4-goal lead again.
Absolutely. We've heard a lot about the Big Brother defense, but they seem to be a couple feet off their man. There's the hammer throw to the end zone for Pat King for the score. New York making it look easy.
I'd say it took them, what, 12, 15 seconds to get down the field?
Yeah, it was not very long at all. They didn't, they went through Big Brother on that one like a freight train through the wind.
How many matches will you end up playing on a given day, Scott?
Well, the World Championships have been held over the course of 6 days, and each of the teams has had approximately 2 games a day. In the course of a normal tournament, which is held on a weekend, you can play 5 games on Saturday and 4 on Sunday to get to the finals of the tournament. Big Brother now puts it into play again. They're right at that 4-goal bubble right now, where a goal against them right now would really hurt, put them down 5. They run Steve Mooney out of the middle. They don't have him. Instead, floating backhand flip. Nice catch.
Jumping ability, timing ability is obviously critical in this game, huh?
Very critical. Nice defense there. That throw is a little bit errant. Defender in the right place. New York picks up now about midfield.
Can they take advantage and put the game on some sort of an early ice basis?
There's a big backhand shot for the corner. Nice catch. Was he in?
The observer,
yes.
He was, yes.
Nice catch over there by Frank Valenti on a beautiful throw by number 23, D-Man Weidenman.
New York scores, now takes a 5-goal lead, 9-4 over Boston in the finals here in Toronto. Still early on as we've got to go up to 21.
And 13 points into the game. I don't think they've consulted with the observers yet. There's Dennis Warson, nice big yank downfield. That's going to drift out.
You know, the players like observers for the line calls because they know that they don't often have a good look at their own inbounds and out of bounds.
One thing we have to remember about Ultimate also is that in the world of international sports, where endorsements and sponsors can mean huge amounts of money to players, in Ultimate it's pretty much shunned, isn't it?
I don't think the players want the endorsements because the endorsements means that somebody that's not involved in the game would have control over the game, and I think the players want the control of what happens on the field to remain with the players.
Hey, yeah. Back in my day, they called those kind of guys hippies.
Well, back in the early days of the sport, they were hippies. Not so now. You can look around, you see a lot of parents with small children here. A lot of us have cut our hair. Some of us have just lost our hair. But I think something special from the early days of the game is still with us.
I guess you just summed it up.
Oh, a nice bid there by Blair O'Connor.
What's a bid?
A bid is an attempt at a defensive block and a travel called.
Wow.
Somebody makes a layout like that and tries to get the D. That's called a good bid. He's made a bid at the disc. Not exactly an easy catch there either by Mata Phillips.
Now, Phillips had a traveling call against him, and yet the disc goes right back to him.
That's correct. They'll just put it back into play.
So he's not really penalized for his penalty.
No, as the philosophy is there are no referees, there are no penalties. You just put it in play where the disc would be had the penalty not occurred, had the infraction not occurred. Looks like Ben's pushing him, and there was a foul call.
Once again, he can't get too close to him, right, John?
Yeah, that was a little over-aggressive. I think that was a little bit more muscle than was necessary, but this is a big game, and players get their big game heads on.
Okay, back into play. Big Brother now about midfield. They really need to have this goal.
Wow.
Nice catch, Tommy. Backhand up the middle. They're going to call a travel on Tommy. They'll reset.
Prior to the game, talked to a lot of people in the stands who are living in the Toronto area, have no idea what this game's about, but looking at their faces, they really seem to enjoy it.
Everybody's into the game. It doesn't take much to figure it out. It's really very simple in its roots. It gets complex.
Oh, there's a block. A mistake by Tommy, but there's going to be a call.
Once again, you see them resolving the dispute themselves if they can. Looks like they're taking this one to the observers.
We know what the problem is.
I think there was a foul called. Steve Mooney made a move to the disc, and I think he said that he was held back by the defender before that throw was out of the hand of his teammate Tommy Evans.
It looks like the call's going that way.
So who's got the disc?
Steve Mooney has the disc. Apparently they didn't. They decided that the foul did not apply to the throw, and that the receiver who had the disc at the time will now play the disc.
00 Steve Mooney, known as Moons, maintains the disc for Boston, and they could use a point here.
It's Mata Phillips now about 10 yards out.
Play stops again.
Kick call in the end zone.
Once again, we see it can be so ferocious until you're so close to the goal, and all of a sudden, pick calls slow it down.
Things get crowded. You might take a look at the way they're lined up here, all in a straight line like this. That's called a stack. And from this position, the offense can easily make cuts to the inside or the outside of the field. That's what they want. They want
someone try to break out of there fast?
That's what they're going to do, right from the back. There it is. Somebody's free.
He's got it.
For the score, and they're going to Blair's going to call travel. No, he's going to change his mind.
Oh, beautiful, beautiful spirit of the game.
Good idea.
He called travel. He said, nah, forget it.
He changed his mind. He realized he didn't make a good call.
But by changing his mind,
he gave up a goal.
He gave up a goal.
Yeah.
9-5 now. New York over Boston. Scott, we're 55 minutes into this game. The score is 9-5. When is halftime?
Halftime will be the first team to get to 11 points. They in the games at 21, halftime is at 11.
And halftime will last about?
Approximately 10-15 minutes.
All right. So we may be as little as 2 goals or as many as 6 goals from halftime.
That's right.
Stay with us and find out. There's enough drama in itself just
Beautiful.
to stay with this ultimate match.
Beautiful throw.
Look at that. All the Boston guys down there ready to take on their...
Here we go. Look for them to start laying out on defense, Rob.
Because they need a block right here.
Once again, the layout means going for the disc.
There's that long throw.
New York set up a play. There's Dobbins. He can
Dobbins
jump.
from New York.
He can jump. Yes.
Wow. Incredible. Perfectly timed right at the goal line. Went up and above over 2 Boston defenders to pull down goal number 10, giving New York a 10-5 lead now over Boston.
Wow. You know, I had an opportunity to watch the finals last year, the USA National Championships, and with a catch exactly like that, Mr. Dobbins pretty much single-handedly knocked the LA Iguanas out of the competition.
Let's take a look again as the pass comes nearly all the way down the field. Dobbins now with 2 Boston defenders, perfectly times it out, goes high, snags it for goal number 10.
That's just beautiful, going up between those 2 defenders like that.
And thank heavens for instant replay.
I go about 5'7", and I've guarded Kenny on a couple occasions during a tournament, and the thing that makes him tough to cover is he does everything. Some guys like to hang around the disc and get short passes. Some guys like to go deep. And once you know what somebody does, you can guard them a little bit better, but he does everything. You can't guard him for the short pass because he runs you deep, but if you try to guard him deep, then he runs back and catches the short pass. There's really no way to stop him. You just have to try to minimize the damage.
He may be potent because of his speed or his agility or possibly just his intensity.
He's got great intensity. He's in the game every minute of it.
Helps to be able to jump like that, too.
Yeah.
Kenny's sort of viewed around the league as the as Mr. Intense, isn't
Yeah, the Pete Rose of Ultimate.
Let's hope he's
Nice
not...
catch.
Yeah, we don't know how he feels about
Looks
gambling.
at the end zone, changes his mind. Now John Axon on the near sideline. They're at about midfield and need this goal desperately. Nice hammer shot. Oh, he
fell
slips
down.
and falls down.
No one's fault on that other than the field, just a bit slippery. They're wearing cleats, aren't they?
That's right.
It's a soccer cleat?
It's a turf shoe. Depending
turf
on the weather condition and the field condition, they could go to something called a screw-in. Most of these guys are wearing moldeds or turf shoes right now.
So these are not metal
The
cleats.
shot up the sideline.
No, that's correct.
New York about 10 yards from taking it to half. John Gewirtz fakes the flip. Has Kareem Basta for the score.
Goal number 11 for New York. That's number
That
1.
looks like a pick call on that one, maybe an injury.
So once again, we see play, intense, action going full tilt boogie.
I think they're gonna bring that back to John Gewirtz. You notice
Looks like he said he got an elbow in his mouth.
Yeah. You notice that John's wearing number 23. He's not wearing a New York jersey. For some reason, John's New York jersey didn't make it to this tournament, and he's a very superstitious guy. So he borrowed a jersey from one of the Maniacs, and that's the current women's world champions. We just watched them play and win the world championship, and he borrowed one of their jerseys to play this game in.
So this is not a totally macho sport.
No.
When you see big, tough athletes wearing girls' clothes,
They're wearing girls' clothes,
you
right.
know this is a pretty egalitarian kind of sport.
I don't think it matters that it's one of the women's jerseys. I think all that matters to him is it says 2-3 on the back, and that's all he cares about right now.
It looked better this morning in the finals.
Yeah, well, it would. But at the same token, in the Ultimate community, you don't find a lot of sex role insecurity. People are pretty happy with who they are.
Score is still 10-5.
He's trying to make eye contact with somebody. There's a flip. He's not in. That's Paul Shields, I believe. Back to John Gewirtz for the score. That'll take us to half.
11-5 now. New York from the Big Apple. Last year's
Current USA defending national champions.
These are the champs, and they're maintaining that league with a 6-goal, 6-point lead over the Big Brothers of Boston. And this means halftime. First team to 11 brings us to a halftime score of about 10 minutes. Both teams will do now what, John?
Well, New York is going to try and remind themselves not to get too excited, get out ahead of themselves. They got a big cushion, but they can't afford to get overconfident because a 6-goal lead can evaporate in a while. The tougher call is going to have to be for Big Brother as they go into their halftime. They're going to have to dig down deep, find some psych. They'll tell each other they're not out of it yet. They just have to get back into this game 1 goal at a time.
All right, let's take a little break right now. We'll be back with some halftime statistics and see just who's doing what for each team. As the World Flying Disc Federation Finals for the Men's Open continues here in Sunnybrook Park in Toronto, Canada. Hi everyone, I'm Rob Weller, and I'm here to tell you about a sport that is played internationally by over 20,000 men and women. The game is called Ultimate, a field sport that combines the fast action of basketball, the thrill of football's long bomb, and because there are no referees, an old-fashioned thing called honor.
The game itself is intoxicating. Chasing something down that defies gravity just puts you in a different time frame.
It's not just Frisbee football, it's the ultimate experience. The Ultimate Experience is a program designed to look inside this explosive new sport and to meet the people who play the game. An informative introduction to this simple competition where fair play reigns and player numbers expand each year. The Ultimate Experience is also a 60-minute broadcast special filled with amazing play action and the type of human enthusiasm not often found on the field of competition. The Ultimate Experience includes in-depth demonstration segments to explain the basics.
You must establish a pivot foot first, as in basketball, in order to do that.
As well as expert interviews.
There's a hammer, which is like an overhead in tennis, and that's an upside-down curving shot. It cuts into the wind and doesn't float as much.
To guide us through the often complex language of the game.
Downwind, the punt factor is big. Secondary, middle. We should have a zone set up. We can send it downtown.
My favorite ultimate terminology is
It's up, Frisbee's up.
Hoe biff.
will cut.
Scuba. Biff, I suppose.
Bit on a disc, whether it was a layout on a block or a layout on a snag or an almost snag, is just putting a hell of a bit on the disc.
Gack. That's what happens when you're on the end zone and you've got the disc and you're ready to put it in and everything falls apart.
The Ultimate Experience also includes top-notch tournament play by the best of the best for the 1991 World Club Championship Finals in Toronto, Canada.
There's a big backhand shot for the corner. Nice catch. Was he in? Yes. He was, yeah.
We'll meet the players.
He's going to dominate.
But when we play, get my mail delivered about 3 feet over his head.
And their families.
They wanted to find out why I always miss Thanksgiving dinner because I'm at nationals, or why I'm not there for birthday parties because I'm playing in a tournament, or why I'm late coming to dinner because I'm practicing.
We'll introduce you to the spirit of the game.
It'll be common to see players from the opposing team after the point come over and congratulate the other team's player for a point well played. And that is something that you sometimes see in professional sports, but I think that's really the exception. Here it's pretty much the rule.
And although Ultimate has its disputes,
Player, you took about 3 steps.
it's up to the players to solve them. The Ultimate Experience is truly unique. A sporting story where winning isn't everything and every player knows it.
They're doing an awful lot of cheating, and we're sort of accepting it. We're an incredibly good-natured crew that we are.
It's a non-traditional game with a focus on traditional values. This is no ordinary sports program. It's the Ultimate Experience.
I'd like to think in 16, 17 years when my 2 sons are playing the sport that they still don't have to listen to any whistles on the field. It's each person controlling their own actions. That's what I like to see happen. And if my sons choose to play this game, I'd like to see them play by the spirit of the game too. That's the bottom line.
The Big Brothers of Boston in the lavender jerseys with the predominantly dark shorts, some red, some pink, some maroon, against the players from New York in the white.
They can't afford a turnover here.
Second half beginning, Scott Gerst called the play-by-play.
Now Big Brother will bring it into play from the sideline. Now that he's set his foot, he's got to take it from there. He had the option to bring it to the middle, but thought he could catch the New York defense sleeping, but he wound up catching his own man sleeping. So now they're going to have to work from their own end zone. They look really flat, Rob.
How can you tell? I mean, what makes you say that?
Just that nothing is developing in the middle of the field. They're not coming out the way they wanted to. You notice how quickly New York moved the disc last time down the field. This looks much more labored. Now Moon's on the sideline. Slips and gets up. Sees a man open. Now near side.
Considering the floating time of this disc, you really have to know what the potential patterns are of your teammates.
There's the shot for the end zone. Jay Seeger. Nice catch, John Axon, one hand. Goes to the swing pass for Steve Mooney. Standing about a foot out. Needs to be calm here. That's what he's doing, directing his offense. Little backhand flip.
Nobody's got it.
Yes,
he does.
They're going to call that up.
Oh, what a
yes.
catch.
Yes, that's a catch by Mata Phillips. That disc went to nobody. I don't know who that was intended for. And Mata came out of nowhere to pick that disc about an inch off the ground.
It looked like both players from the Big Brothers were just sort of standing there looking, and one of them decided, I'm going for it.
That was a full extension layout, and that's one of the beauties of the disc. You know, it floats. It gives you time to get under it like that. You see a lot of spectacular plays like that.
Boston with the first score of the second half now. Here comes the
Jay
pull.
Seeger, Big Brother again scored a goal, but if they had opportunity with the pull, and they need a big block right here.
Let's watch what Kenny's doing. He wants to pop it.
That's Pat King. Now Kenny comes back to the disc. And Jeffrey sticks his hands out. Kenny takes a shot at the end zone. Nobody home. There. A little miscommunication. Kenny yelling at Dave Blau. He thought Dave was making a move to the end zone.
Yeah, he's letting him know.
He's definitely letting him know. That's a spiritual, influential leader of the team is never afraid to let them know what he thinks is going on.
And the fans giving him a little razzing for doing that.
I think they think that Kenny pulled the trigger a little too quickly on that one.
You mean he's mortal?
Yeah, he's mortal.
Barely.
He's human?
Well, then...
We don't know if he's human. We've agreed he's mortal, but we're not sure he's human.
We'll take a survey.
I have to ask his mom.
We got Big Brother putting the disc into play. As I said, first 2 goals of the second half. They score this one, they've got the first 2, and they're back in the game.
Wow.
Jay Seeger looks at the end zone and decides otherwise.
That was smart.
You've really got to have your concentration going.
Man down. Now Jay cuts back to the disc. That's an overthrow. Mike Nevins has got that. Yes, he does. New York, watch for the quick transition. Now Kareem Basta. Big Brother doing a good job of picking up, but their backs are to the wall on this one. Dobbins steps around. Now goes forehand. Nice throw.
Really whips that.
And no flutter on that. Over to Pat King. And a pick called. Since that was called while the disc was in the air and it didn't affect the play, then it'll stay in Pat's hands and Jay will just touch it in the play.
It does not have to go back.
They step around.
Oh,
nice play, Jeffrey. Picks it up on the goal line. Not necessarily a good throw there by Pat King. There's a big shot for the end zone. Jay's got it a couple feet short. There's Lenny for the score.
Oh, that's big. That's really big.
We'll take a look at it again. A great move by Boston, doing exactly what New York has done in the first half. 3 passes, the length of the field, and a great, did you call that a layout?
Yes, It was a beautiful transition fast break. They never gave the defense a chance to get in the play.
So Boston showing some real stuff here as they've come out in the second half, down still by 4 points, but have picked up the first 2 goals, as both John Vorhaus and Scott Gerst have suggested they need to do to keep in this game.
Yeah, we got a little friendly jockeying going on back and forth. New York's been ready to receive for about a minute now, and they've had their hands up, and Big Brother's still setting up. Dave Blau's taking a couple steps forward, and he's waving at them, saying, hey, we're ready. Come on, guys.
Scott, do you think they're thinking about a zone right here?
No, I don't think so. Their throwers are just too good. They'd shred right through a zone, I think. But you never know. You know, changing to a zone, change of strategy, may catch them by surprise.
Pull goes up almost into the crowd. You get to keep the disc if it goes into the crowd, or you get to throw
No,
it
it's
back?
not like a baseball game.
Well, if they're fast enough, they get to keep it.
They got to outrun some pretty tough runners.
I would imagine. All right, now, can New York come in back and answer? They've got a 4-point lead.
Nice play. Skip Kuhn coming from the back of the pack. Back to Dobbins. Steps around.
That's another
floats a pass for Dave Blau. Nice defensive play. Oh, we're going to have a foul call, and I don't necessarily agree with that.
The crowd doesn't necessarily agree with it either.
Who called the foul, Scott?
We're not quite sure yet. One of the men in white, one of the not a good throw by, I'm sorry, not a good throw. You don't see that out of him very often.
He looks like he's a little bit out of control just at the moment. He's firing a little more recklessly than he needs to. I think he's trying to put this one away.
Foul was called, goes back to New York, disc in play.
Nice, Bob DeMann. John Axon trying to trap him to the sideline.
Crowd did not agree with a foul.
Shot for Kareem Basta. Nice throw for the score.
That trap didn't look too good there, did it, Scott?
No, when you trap a man on the sideline, you want to force that throw down the sideline, and that means you can't let that throw go down the sideline like that.
It was, what, I guess 10-7 going into that, or 11-7 going into that, and now it's 12-7. They got that 5-point bulge again.
Yeah, being down 5 at this point in the game, we talked about getting the first 2, which they did, but now every goal that New York scores, essentially, Big Brother has to score 2 for every one New York scores. If they just trade back and forth, they're going to find themselves out of the game.
That's asking a lot, but look at that pull. All the way out of the end zone. It's at least...
It's not bad. It's about 105.
About 105 yards, yeah.
Got a little bit of a following wind behind that throw. Now you see the flag starting to pick up.
It's kind of a strange setup. This Tommy Evans, and I said before that he's probably not rattled by all this, being a new player on this team. But usually you like to see your experienced players walking the disc up, but they're going to let Tommy put it into play.
Why? Why do you have to be experienced to start the thing off?
Well, just I don't think Tommy's ever played in a game this big before. Most of these guys have been here, but as I said before, he's right out of a team in North Carolina that was never... Oh, nice play, Dennis Warson.
Turnover deep in Boston territory.
That was a layout biff.
A layout biff.
That's the technical term.
Now Mike Turoff standing about 30 yards out.
A lot of coaching from the sidelines.
Flip back, Aaron Flores.
They've got the wind in their favor.
Number 11 looking downfield. Steps away. Nice catch by Walter Vanderstraat.
Got an injury.
Yeah, he hit his head on the ground.
He came down like hard, right on the back of his head as he was going for a layout.
Yeah, biff. He looked like he caught a cleat in the back of his head.
It's Barney Barnacle down there, number 44.
And he gets up and he says, no problem.
No problem. It's only my head.
No problem. Barney, you're a better man than I.
Back into play. Walter points to where he wants to throw it and throws it for the score.
Quick kill, New York. Two quick points now. 13-7. That's big, isn't it?
That's really big.
First team to 21 are the new World Club champs
and they've
Ultimate.
They've earned it. They will have beaten teams from all over the world, as far away as Australia, Japan, Holland, Germany,
Venezuela.
How can there be 68 clubs from 17 countries, 1,200 players, and it boils down to 2 American teams?
It has to do with the history of the game. It started in America. These players have played the game longer than anybody else in the world. They got roots from high school. They just bring lots more to the game. American Ultimate is at a higher level of sophistication than the rest of the world, but that won't last long.
How long?
Another couple, 3-4 years. Especially watch the Scandinavian teams. They've got real strong national backing. They get great support. They've got great team unity. They work on the skills at the high school, junior high school level. They're going to be great.
I kind of like the Japanese too, John. I think they've picked up a lot just from being here at the World Champions.
Japanese sported both a men and a women's team. Sweden,
two
Finland.
of each.
So they were quite dominant here. Of course, everybody, I think, had a great time meeting people from other countries.
Yeah, certain countries field certain kind of teams. You can always count on the Australians to come and win the party.
Yes, the Australians win the party, and I don't know if there's an award for that.
Well, I think self-indulgence is its own reward.
So we've got Big Brother now back into play, working about 10 yards from their own end zone.
They've got a 5-point deficit to overcome, Scott.
That's right. Actually, I think it's 6, Rob. 13 minus 7 is 6.
It sure is. Thanks very, very much. Math was not my forte.
We'll do a little clinic afterwards.
It's Lenny Engel sporting the horns over to Moons on the far sideline. Big swing to John Axon all by himself. Seemed to have lost Pat King in the crowd. Good fake. He's stuck. There's a big hammer up the sideline. Mata Phillips. Oh! Nice catch just outside the outstretched arms of Gewurz. There's Moons for the goal.
That was gorgeous. The big bomb, the big hunk.
What a throw, too. That was a hammer was almost a blade. If it goes vertical from end to end without ever turning over on its back, that's called a blade or a knife.
That was a beautiful throw.
Come on, let's go, Big Brother! This is it! Come on, Jeffy! Come on, Lenny! Yeah, Griff!
Now, Big Brother scored 2 to open the half and gave them right back again to New York. Now they've scored to cut the deficit to 5. Nice catch by Skip Kuhn. Big Brother needs to get this goal right here. There's Bob DeMann. About midfield, looks into the end zone. Now comes back short to Dobbins, who's open. Takes a shot at the end zone. Beautiful throw for Skip Kuhn, who originated that play down in New York's own end zone.
He never stopped running.
So New York answers right back quickly, as they have been doing all match. As Scott Gerst gave us in our halftime statistics, they've been averaging 2.9 throws per goal, keeping the what is it, about 6 passes?
No, the maximum was 6. They were averaging about 3. We're back into play. Big Brother, once again trailing by that 6-goal margin, will put it into play from their own goal line.
What should they be doing at this point now, Scott?
Again, you can only focus on the one goal that you're playing at any given time, and they need to maintain their patience. And just as I say so, they take a shot for the end zone.
That's not going to work.
That's not going to make it. They set up that play right off the pull that they were going to run Mooney deep, and they just overshot him.
Could that have choked him off? Well, I guess we'll have to see what happens with New York, but I would assume if New York gets goal number 15 now on this possession.
Yeah, 7-goal lead is going to be tough.
Turnover.
There's a mistake. They're going to say there was a foul on the throw.
Let's see if we can't listen to this.
I am telling you. Don't run the. I'm just telling you the truth. Listen, Rodney. I called foul. I don't care if it hit him in the hands. I called the foul on the throw. It comes back. Thank you. BK.
A little stern discussion on the part of New York seems to have won the argument.
Yeah, well, it's really not an argument. If he stands by his call, then the disc must come back to him. But I got to say that's a little bit of the dark side of the force there.
So New York will have the disc on their own end zone. Back in play, and Kevin catches this time.
What was the question on that, Scott?
I think Steve was saying that whether or not he fouled him, it had no effect on the play, but that really doesn't matter. Then Yasadi takes a shot. That's kind of low. Mata Phillips picks it up. They have a breakaway if they want to use it. No, he's going to settle everybody down. Now, there's a perfect example of the spirit of the game where they had a breakaway. They had a couple of New York guys who were caught deep, and one of the men had a shoe that either a lace had broken or came untied, and Mata said, okay, let's take our time, tie your shoe, and we'll put it back into play.
You're telling me they've stopped play because some guy's shoe was untied?
That's exactly what's happening out there.
Spirit of the game.
I've never seen that in the NBA. Magic, excuse me, would you stop play?
I got a time.
My Adidas are untied.
Again, you know, the players realize, and everybody that plays this game knows that the most important thing is to not get hurt, because everybody at one point or another has probably been hurt. And, you know, with your shoe untied, there's stand a chance of injury, and that's more important than the game itself right now.
I'd say if they don't want to get hurt, they shouldn't be diving after the disc.
Oh, that's too much to give up.
I'm speaking for their mothers.
So now they go to Moons on the far sideline. It works back to the middle. Now over here to Jay Seeger. Runs somebody free, goes back in. He got hit on that, tried to step through the mark, and Pat King got a good shot of his body
there. So there's a foul on the play. How much can the defensive man impede Jay?
It's just a principle of space. Everybody's entitled to the space that they're in, and Jay tried to step around and pivot, and Jay has the right to pivot, and Pat stepped across and got his body in the way.
Back in play, he's got 10 seconds.
Counts at 6, 7, nice flip down the sideline. There's Mata Phillips. Again, another flip. Oh, he wasn't paying attention. There's Woody. No, I'm sorry, before the throw.
Before the throw, there was a foul again?
Yeah, probably a pick.
So that's probably why Mata stopped and didn't run for that disc, because, you know, Linwood Lewis, a real heads-up play to come in and knock that away. But we'll go back to the thrower on this.
Break for Boston.
So it's Robert Delorius now. We'll put it back into play. They have to convert this right here. Goes out to Mata. Far sideline to Moons. I think we had a pick called before that throw. Again, you'll see more pick calls down as we get closer to the end zone because there's less field space to work with and a lot of bodies moving around in that small area.
Now, is this a play set up for Boston?
He's made eye contact with Moons and pretty much with eyes told him what he wanted to do. There's a hammer to the back corner. Jay Seeger with nobody around for the score.
The crowd definitely responding more when Boston scores than New York.
Well, I think there's a couple of things at work now. The underdog thing that we talked about before, plus the crowd feels that New York might be playing a little bit fast and loose with the rules, making calls that really aren't justified, and so they're going to pay him back by supporting the other team.
There's an old saying, John, and that is the disc never lies, and that no matter what the result of the discussion is, in that case, the team that really deserved to have it got it back and put it in the end zone.
Well, it was 11-5 at half, 14-9 now. It means that Boston has scored one more than New York, but it basically is going back and forth. And you said earlier, Scott, that they've got to score 2 for every one of New York's 1.
Right, and this is an opportunity for them to do it right here, but they need a block.
All right, let's watch play. What happened, Scott?
Well, as you can probably guess, I think Aram called a foul on Lenny, and Lenny's saying that he didn't get any part of his arm, but the way the disc flew out of there, it certainly looked like that was a foul, or at least that he contacted the disc while it was still in his hand.
But Lenny Engel couldn't believe it.
Yeah, you know, Lenny's a competitor. He's out there just doing the best he can.
Dobbins from about midfield.
Nice shot to Bob DeMann.
Wind's really picking up now.
First time today, the breeze is starting to blow with some stiffness out of one of the directions here. Doesn't make any difference.
In for the score. Bob DeMann, nice shot up the line to number 11. It's Aaron Flores on the goal.
New York with the score now, giving them 15. And a few people in the crowd applauding.
I think that's the New York women's team that got eliminated in the semifinals against Lady Godiva yesterday.
See where there'd be a little discouragement on the part of some of the Boston players.
Well, you know,
down by 6 goals at this point.
They don't feel that they're playing as well as they could, and they hate to think that they had the opportunity to be in the World Championship and didn't play their best game.
You know, in some of the competition I saw this week, I saw some teams saying to the others, "We apologize that we're not playing better, that we're not giving you much of a match." I couldn't believe it.
Well, it goes back to spirit of the game. You want the best, most well-played game you can get.
Boston's got the disc, Scott.
Yeah, back into play from their own end zone. And they go over to Mata Phillips, up to Moons on the sideline. They set up a play out of the off the pull, but they couldn't get it to the man they sent deep. So they'll work back across the field. Big fake to the end zone. Little hammer throw. Mata Phillips pulls it down. Nice bid there by Mike Turoff, but I think we had a pick called. So we'll go back to Kid Runkle, 99.
There's a lot of back and forth now between these guys.
One of the things this does, though, is it's kind of a disadvantage for a big brother because it's sort of taking them out of their rhythm.
3-2-1 countdown by John Gerwitz.
Big 4, turn off. You're good, you're good, you're good. In the middle, Mike. In the middle. Other side, turn off, other side. Still there, Carol, still there.
Steve Mooney, big shot cross field. This is going to be a great matchup. Nice play by Cribber over Jay Seeger.
Timing is everything.
And New York calls timeout.
There's our timeout in the second half with a New York lead of 6 points, 15-9 here in the finals. What's going on with the New York team?
It's a good question.
No, I know what's going on. They've got their 7 starters in the middle of there. That's their line. And then the ones on the outside are just keeping loose and having some fun.
I noticed one of the players has his son coming out on the field to help him out.
This looks like some sort of an ancient Mayan rite.
I think it's probably more a summer camp song.
Big brother, big block. 1, 2, 3.
Big brother, big block!
You got hit.
So we're back in play. New York from their own goal line, having burned their first time out of the half. John Goertz takes a shot for Dennis now. Touche! Oh. Dennis Warson beating Jay Seeger on the defense, and then coming back down the other end and beating Jay Seeger on the offense.
So we see quite a matchup between these two guys.
But that was a timeout well spent. They set that play up and just executed it.
I think what they probably did in the timeout is they said, hey, Dennis, you just wounded that guy. You want to pour salt in the wounds now and go down and beat him for the goal? And Dennis said, sure, I'd love to do that.
Now we're at 16-9.
New York has that 7-goal lead we were talking about.
Yeah.
It's starting to look pretty bleak for Big Brother.
And they're only 5 goals away from the win,
That's
from
right.
becoming world champions. I would say some spirit is broken.
Let's go, well, Boston certainly got to be thinking 1 goal at a time.
They've had a lot of matches over the years. In fact, Kenny Dobbins was telling us before that he really felt that Boston was stronger several years ago. And about the last year and a half, New York has been pretty dominant against this Boston
They
team.
appear to be pretty dominant today also, at least up to this point.
Kenny had some concerns, though, because he said they haven't practiced much since Boulder, Colorado competition about 3 weeks ago.
Doesn't look like it's hurt him much.
Now we've got Big Brother about a yard short of the end zone. Every goal is precious for them. They need to get this in. There you go, swing. I think we had a call before the throw.
I heard something. Yeah. He reached around me. He put me in a bear lock.
Stepped on my toes, untied my shoes.
And gave me a noogie. Okay, fine. We'll take it back, play it over.
I've been informed by our ace statistician staff that New York has decided to take their time this half, and they've cranked their average passes per possession up to a whopping 3.6.
They're getting sloppy.
They are getting sloppy. They were at 2.9 passes per goal. Now they're
shot for the end zone. Oh, nice throw. It just out of Jeff Williams' hands.
He must feel bad about that.
Oh, blocked by Mata Phillips.
Mata Phillips is now his personal hero.
Brother working patiently, now setting up a play for John Axon. He
There
came
it is.
free. Great
Beautiful.
fake. Totally
Great fake.
lost Dave Blau.
Outstanding fake. Outstanding fake.
He just put him away.
I tell you, yeah, Mata Phillips. I think Jeffrey Williams should buy Mata Phillips a thank you card there. Yeah.
That was he saved him from looking bad. Although take nothing away from Jeff on that. That was a tough bid.
Well, producer Richard Greenberg, Laura Morton, both decided that they wanted to go full tilt boogie and being able to show the world what Ultimate is all about. We hope you're getting a great idea with our 2 expert commentators, Scott Gerst, John Vorhaus.
And New York now runs out of their end zone. Skip Kuhn. That's their second pass. That's Bob DeMann. That's floating. Dave Blau has the garbage. That throw was not intended for Dave, but he was in the right place at the right time. To flip for Dobbins for the score. I think we're going to have some kind of discussion there. Nope, no discussion. That will count. Kareem Basta to Kenny Dobbins.
Kenny gets right up, takes that disc, throws it right back down, a little bit like a spike.
You know, we've seen that happen again and again. You overthrow the first receiver, but the second receiver
picks it right up. Now, who got that to Kenny Dobbins?
I think that was Kareem Basta on the throw.
So it was Basta to Dobbins.
And again, that was 4 or 5 passes max.
Goal number 17 now for New York as they continue to dominate today's game with quick play, fast passes, quick scoring.
There's a lot of work on into this, and this is the reward for all their work. So there's nothing being taken for granted out there. That's a great pull.
Beautiful pull.
That's in. That's right on the line.
That's about as good as it gets.
Yeah, you force the offense to start in the corner. That's where you want them.
So now, as a result of the good pull, Big Brother will work from a couple yards into its own end zone.
That end zone 25 yards deep, 70 yards down to the goal line.
Hammer throw over to Kid Runkle takes
That'll be a
hit.
strip call.
Yeah, Blair O'Connor ran right into Kid Runkle. They'll tap the disc back into play.
He says, I did it accidentally, and the other guy says, I understand, no problem.
Right, and they put it back in.
They don't mind losing a little ground if they feel that it's going to set things up for them.
That's right. Sometimes that pass backwards is a great pass. There's shot for the end zone.
Willie,
that's
yes.
there, yeah. Beautiful throw from Jay Seeger to John Axon in the far corner.
That was the equivalent of about a 45-yard bomb in football.
Just inside midfield. He put it right on the money.
The weather has been perfect, especially about the last 3 days. Started with a good day of rain here, first day of the tournament, and then was hot and humid as all of the East suffered under the weather for a few days, and then it couldn't have gotten more perfect.
It's been perfect almost this whole week.
The weather gods look after the spirit of the game as well.
And a nice return pull by Big Brother. Trapping New York in the corner. And we have our first strategy change. Looks like a zone. It certainly is. Got our first strategy change of the game. Now New York has to change from their man-to-man offense to their zone offense. They've got to be a little bit more patient, not try to bang it up the field very quickly. Now Dobbins in the middle of the field, shoots it up the middle. They're cutting through this zone fairly easily so far. Now they'll go backwards, try to stretch the defense.
What's the defense hoping for?
Defense is hoping that by making the offense make more throws, which is what happens in a zone, that eventually they're going to make a bad one. But the percentages with these guys, they're pretty good throwers. They're making this look easy. Dobbins now about 2 yards out. Big Brother stays with the zone. Dobbins up the middle for the score. Well, that didn't work.
To it. No, not at all. They might have had, what, 8, 9 throws on that one instead of 3 or 4, but it didn't make any difference.
So Boston's saying, well, we've got to try something. We'll try a zone, see what happens.
Right, on a day with no wind and great throwers, the zone is a tough proposition.
It looks like New York was just waiting for him to go.
Well, it was a little bit of bad luck and bad timing because the wind is blowing off and on. If they had caught that zone at a breezy moment, they might have had a little bit better luck with it, but that zone didn't show New York anything they couldn't handle.
I don't think we'll see that again.
No.
What do you think Boston's going to have to do in order to beat New York next time they play?
They're going to need a couple of bigger horses. Just guys who can dig down deeper and play tougher. They need somebody who can match Kenny Dobbins stride for stride, throw for throw.
But isn't Dobbins recognized as probably the most intense player in the whole league?
There are a lot of pretty intense players. Just Kenny happens to be very noticeable. There's a play they set up for Steve Mooney. John Gewirtz goes up and knocks it away. Oh, Woody Lewis throws the disc away. That's a break. Let's see if they can turn it around. Mata Phillips up top for Jay Seeger for the score. That's a rare mistake by the New York team.
So it may be too early to bury Boston at this point.
And Woody's not happy with himself there. He just picked up the disc and threw it right into the ground.
Yeah, you hate to see that happen.
Most of the players who are here and spent the whole week here are taking their vacations from work and probably working harder here during the week than they would sitting at their desks and doing whatever they do.
Yeah, I feel sorry for some of these guys who are playing today and have to be at work tomorrow morning
at 9 o'clock. I got to be at work on Monday. Monday's going to be hell.
Too much for me.
Big Brother hasn't given up. They know a tough D here puts them 1 point closer.
Oh,
that one is way out.
Yeah.
That's so far out, it's gone.
Heads up, heads up.
We call that a yank. That's a technical term for that.
A yank?
Yes.
We've been called yanks up here in Canada.
Jay Seeger's laughing at himself because he knows that wasn't necessarily his best effort. And every time a pull goes out of bounds by that distance, usually the fans and the players on the field waste no time making fun of the person that threw it that far out of bounds. Okay, we'll see the zone again.
That's a surprise.
You guaranteed me they wouldn't try the zone again, and here they are, right back in the zone.
Oh, look at this.
Well, that's a good way to beat the zone. Knocked away by Mata Phillips. I don't know if that's a good idea, Jay.
I don't think it was great decision-making on either side.
Who's going to go get the disc?
It's going to be Mata's going to go pick up the disc.
There was a little look at him. You knocked it away from me. I'm not going to her.
Well, no, the team that's just going on defense doesn't have any responsibility to go get the disc.
So Dave Blau, number 10 for New York, just said, hey, look.
You pick it up.
It's yours, baby.
There's Mata with Kenny Dobbins guarding him.
Whoa. How do they judge those tosses so close to
Dave Blau gets it right back again.
That was a gift to him.
Pat King, who just took that errant shot, decides better.
New York just 3 points away from the victory. Threatening again.
Dobbins with a big hammer to the end zone. Lenny's closing distance. Oh, just off Dave Blau's hand. I disagree with that, too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wait a minute. What's the call? What are you disagreeing with?
I think Dave made a foul call. Said he was hit in midair, but
and the disc, he'd already made his bid, and the disc was away from him before the contact was made.
Yeah, I think he just dropped that.
However, more than likely, he'll probably win the argument.
Well, as always, the only thing defense can do to dispute it is to send it back to the thrower.
Where does the disc go to then?
It would return to the thrower. If not,
what's the call? I think that foul was not contested.
Not contested.
And in World Flying Disc Federation rules, if there's an uncontested foul in the end zone, it counts as a goal.
And that's exactly what happened.
So New York picks up goal number 19.
You know, even here at the top of the pyramid, there are two games being played. One is for score and one is for spirit. And you want to be able to accept the congratulations of the fans for playing within the spirit of the game as well as for winning it.
Fans didn't quite agree with the call initially.
No. But when it wasn't contested, they realized there was something they must have missed.
As we said before, the players on the field know exactly what's going on more than the fans in the stands do. So Big Brother finds themselves needing a bunch of goals to get back in this one.
They need a flood. They need an earthquake.
So Tommy with a hammer. Mata Phillips picks it out of the air. Good try by Mike Turoff, but he didn't have position on that.
How many times do you think you hit the ground during a game?
These guys, I would say, average 5'6". Who knows? You know, 5, 6, 7 times.
And I'll tell you what, you can feel each one later.
As Tommy takes a big shot for John Axon in the corner. Beautiful throw to the back cone. Nice throw, Tommy.
John Axon showing a series of beautiful grabs in the second half. A couple of them were just out of reach in the first half.
Big Brother set to pull.
He's a big guy. Axon's got to be 6'3", 6'4".
It's hard for me to tell. He's taller than I am.
Yeah.
That's all I know.
As far as I'm concerned, a tall man is just a target.
Well, he's taller than we are, and we're up here in our broadcast booth.
High above the playing field.
High above the playing fields.
Is that a little nosebleed I'm getting up here?
I doubt it.
Jay Seeger, I think he may have gotten this one inbounds. Yeah, Mike Nevins plays it from the air.
New York with the disc. 2 points away from winning the World Championships.
Blau looks off a couple receivers, goes short instead. Got a foul right here, a little body contact. It's 45, Juano Flores has Kenny Dobbins as soon as it's back into play. He'll have Dobbins open for a pop to the middle.
Dobbins
looking long.
Always looks long first. Little flip, not a great throw by Kenny. I think there's a foul called. Ken's going to say that he didn't have the full range of arm motion, that Jeffrey stopped him.
The crowd's not going to like that at all.
I don't think Jeffrey likes that.
We've got observers on the sideline talking to themselves. We've got Dobbins, Jeff Brown.
That's not true. If I establish my position, you're not allowed to step through me to get around me.
Jeff, I don't think that's not true.
I really don't. I'd like to go to the observer then.
Okay.
They're taking this one to the observers.
Kenny agreed.
Ask him.
And the observers overrule New York.
Yeah, they sure did.
I think that's a good call. I think
too.
You know, Jeff had established his position on defense, and it looked like Kenny stepped into him and drew the foul.
The observer system is new, and you want to see if it's going to work well or not. I would say in that situation it worked perfectly.
But immediately upon a foul being called, two observers right in front of us here at the broadcast booth got together, immediately talked about it, established which observer would make the call.
And of course, all the observers are players themselves.
Oh, and they get it right
by
back.
Pat King. That wasn't a great throw. They're looking for Pat on the far sideline. Don't have him. Back to Dobbins.
New York 2 away.
Dobbins shot for the end zone.
Oh, great grab.
What a catch.
A beautiful catch moved New York to within 1 point of the World Championships in Ultimate for 1991 here in Toronto, Canada.
I foresee one problem for the future of Ultimate, and that's overstuffed highlight reels. There's just too much good action in these games.
Who says man can't fly?
New York lost any matches this week in semis? One.
Yes, New York lost to a team from Chicago called Windy City in a great game, 19-17 earlier in the week.
In fact, Windy City didn't lose a game until yesterday's semifinals
That's
matches.
Right.
Many thought that they would go on, that they seemed to have the momentum.
And Windy City was beaten by this Big Brother team we see out here, and they were beaten because Big Brother came out and played some great defense and staked themselves to a big 6-0 lead and coasted the rest of the way.
Huh. So Chicago beat New York. Boston beat Chicago. And now New York is beating Boston.
I think Pete Rozelle would like that.
It's just so nice to watch that disc in flight.
Isn't that amazing?
Number 99, Kid Runkle, will pick up the disc and walk it out to the goal line. The 7 people from New York on the field right now are thinking, well, we score this goal, we're on the field for the World Championships. If we don't score this goal, then we got to go sit down and maybe our teammates get all the glory. Into play from their own goal line. They're stuck. They get it outside to John Axon, who's had himself a good game. Big flip cross field. John Gowertz in pursuit. It's Robert Delorius.
Look at him run. This is the last, could be the last few points of the game.
And they're still going all out. Mata Phillips has a man on the far sideline. There's the hammer. It looks like he might have gotten fouled on that.
Nope.
Nope, I guess he got a piece of the disc.
Got a piece of the disc. It's now turned over to New York, and this could be it.
And they call timeout.
Oh! New York takes a timeout with a 2013 lead over Boston. The world's men's finals in Ultimate. New York had a few things to say in the huddle. What do you guys think they're going to do? John, start with you.
I think they're going to strike for a long one and go out in a blaze of glory.
How about you, Scotty?
I find it interesting that they're up as much as they are, and instead of patting each other on the backs in the timeout, they're still calling plays and setting up their offense.
Boston hanging right on them, not giving up.
He's stuck. Count's got to be high. Nice flip to Dennis Warson. Cribber's looking at the end zone. Jay Seeger right on him. It's a good matchup. Goes instead to Gowertz. Oh. Nice block by number 69. That's Griff Griffin. Really laid out and got that one.
Crowd very appreciative of his effort.
Sure, under the circumstances.
They don't have anything developing on offense, though. Mata's been doing a lot of work back there. There's John Axon free again. Jay's got a step, and they're going to throw it to him. Jay's got 2 on him. One of them's Dennis. They go over top and get that one.
I think Big Brother would have felt better if John had been receiving that one than throwing it.
The alley-oop gives the disc back to New York.
Who gives it right back?
Again.
They're not happy about that. Big shot cross field. There's the open man for the score.
It ain't over.
Aram shrugging his shoulders. You know he didn't make a good play there.
Perhaps their concentration is not on defense. 20-14 now. New York over Boston. A little extra time. New York's ready. They're urging Boston to give them the pull.
Jeffrey Williams with a nice toss downfield. Big Brother defender sprinting downfield. Oh, nice catch by Skip Kuhn.
A risky move.
Goes backhand. Dobbins is open. We have a collision and 2 Big Brother players down in the middle of the field.
Oh, yeah. It looks like we've got Jeff Williams
and number 26.
Is that John Axon?
I don't think that's John. He's got hair on his head.
Number 6, Daryl Seawalt. Bad luck for Daryl. He hasn't been in too much.
Well, I don't see any bones showing.
No, I just got his chimes rung a little bit.
And again, players from each team checking with the other players to make sure everybody's okay.
Now, is there an element where you want to say, hey, look, I can play injured. I'm tough.
Well, yeah, but, you know, you got to serve the team. If there's somebody on the sideline who's fresh, can go in there and do the job for you while you recover. You got to let them go.
what he's got to hope is that the man they put on the field in replacement can get a block, or if the team can get the disc back and score, so you have an opportunity to come back on the field. Of course, New York scores here, the game's over.
New York just 1 point away. Normally they play to 19 in the World Championships, up to 21. And if it's tied at 21, you'd have to win by 2.
That's correct, and there's no cap, which means you have to win by 2, and there's no limit. You could play to 50 if you need to.
Disc back in.
Kenny Dobbins going up top for Pat King. Knocked
Nice
away. Great defense.
No foul called on that one. It was clean. They were both going for the disc.
That's a great play on defense.
Oh, the crowd loves that.
It's Jeff Brown on the block there, climbing up over top of Pat King and knocking that one away.
He just positioned himself inside on the disc.
Oh, there's a mistake.
The receiver faked out the thrower on that one.
This could be it.
The cut. Mike Nevins. Oh! Caught by Jeremy. Oh! Jay Seeger.
Nevins is going to say that Seeger went over the top of him and never got him a chance, to leap
over
up.
the top of him, but I think he had the disc in his hand before. Yeah, he's going to let that go. Dave Blau said, Mike, let it go, man.
2 great defensive moves in 3 plays.
Did you see that? His feet were up around the other guy's head.
Yeah, Dave Blau went over to his teammate, Mike Nevins, and said, Mike, let that go. That was a great play. I saw that. You didn't. You were underneath him. Jay Seeger shoots it up the sideline. Nice catch. Robert Delorius goes for the end zone, number 7.
Yeah.
Oh!
Kareem Boston.
And a great handshake. New York and Boston players shake hands. Terrific goal. We've seen a lot of action.
It's number 7 for Big Brother. Unfortunately, he's not in the program.
He's not on the program. We don't know who he is.
Whoever he is, he just made a hell of a sprint and catch there. That's Jethro Yu.
Jethro Yu.
Jethro Yu with a great catch there.
It was a great series coming down.
Wow.
Yeah, Jay
20
really,
to 15.
You know, you got to feel like the fans have gotten their money's worth on this one.
Oh, there's no doubt about it.
Players are having a good time, too. Jay Seeger is the one who got beaten by Dennis a couple times on a point before, and I think he just got it back.
It would have been so easy for Boston to roll over and die. Down by as many as 7 goals.
Crowd's trying to bring him back into this.
This crowd.
Definitely got their money's worth, and the admission was free.
F-R-E-E. So no matter what, you got your money's worth.
Well, Boston's pumped, but we've seen Boston pumped several times throughout the match.
Yeah.
And New York comes back and bingo.
I think New York has set up a play here. They may try a big shot and end this one quickly. They don't want the crowd or Big Brother a chance to get back into this.
Disc pulled into the wind.
That's a beautiful pill.
No, just out of bounds.
Out of bounds. Wind caught it.
Into the bleachers.
All right, here we go. Remember, Boston needs to keep New York from going in. They're only 1 away from the win.
Kareem Basta puts it into play. Robert Delorius on the mark. They come out to Bob Demand.
Oh! A turnover!
Took his eye off the disc.
Oh!
He's probably thinking about the next throw.
Or the sideline, wondering where the sideline was.
Boy, I hate when that happens.
Breeze picking up a little bit.
Lenny calling out a play. Lenny Engels. Redhead with the horns.
He's got the horns on his head.
Goes to the middle of the field. Now Delorius back to Lenny.
Uh-oh. Oh!
Didn't get it. That's tough. Now Lenny's got to get back on defense. Dave Blau looks deep, doesn't have anything. He doesn't have anybody on him either, so he'll take his time. Gets it to Dobbins, who gets his feet in bounds. Now about 40 yards away from the world champion.
Looks like
We had a pick call.
A pick calling.
Yep.
Defensive man interfered with, trying to get to position.
They'll put it back into play.
Not only do they respect offense, they respect defense in this game.
That's correct. It's back in. Dave Blau to Dobbins.
He's looking. Here
For
it
the
goes.
championship.
That's not going to work.
That's down. Not a good throw by Kenny.
A lot of back and forth. Crowd very excited.
Everybody's on their feet.
One of the things, an important note is that Kenny his job forced him to be away for the first 5 days of this tournament. He just showed up yesterday morning for the semifinal, so he hasn't played this week as much as anybody else has.
You think he may be a little rusty?
Looks like he's just a little bit rusty. Nice catch by Delorius. Free man on this side of the field. Doesn't get it to him. Instead, back to number 1, Gary Lippman.
Uh-oh.
Blocked by Blau. There's the shot for the end zone. It's over.
New York.
World champions.
New York, New York. World champions. The World Flying Disc Federation Club Championships here in Toronto, Canada. 21-15. An outstanding match. Certainly for everyone here who enjoyed the festivities all week, a great way to conclude what this was all about.
Congratulations.